Hi everyone, thanks for joining us on our webinar on our new cnPilot features. Here with us we have Chetan and Puneet. They're two of our top Wi-Fi guys, and they're here to give you a presentation and answer any questions you might have. So without further ado, here's Chetan.
Hey Colin, thank you. Good morning everyone, good afternoon and good evening, depending on your time zone. Today we want to give you guys a quick overview of the various new features that we've been rolling out in release 3.0. These have been around, some of these features that we're going to talk about have been around for a couple of months. Others have just been released yesterday. But overall, we wanted to present to you a sense of where we're going, all of the various mature capabilities that are coming up on the cnPilot platform, and then also leave some time for Q&A to answer any questions that you have. So for those of you who are new to the cnPilot, we have two categories of products. We have our enterprise products and our home and residential products. Our home and residential products.
Chetan, one moment. I think the presentation is showing it's not showing the full screen.
Thank you. So let's try that again. Okay. Is this better?
I'm not seeing anything yet, but...
Okay, let's try this again. Colin, if you want to just restart the broadcast as soon as the screen comes up, let's get this.
Okay, well...
Is the screen still not showing?
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, let's, apologies everyone, while we get our screen basics right here again. Not sure what happened there.
Okay, well, I just saw your screen for a second, but then it went away. There we go. All right, we're good now.
Yes, that looks good.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your patience. So what cnPilot has, and this is just an overview for those who are new to cnPilot, we have two categories of products. We have the home and small business routers and our enterprise class of routers. And today we'll be focusing on the enterprise class of routers. On the enterprise side, we have the E400, the single band ePMP 1000 hotspot, and the dual band 11AC E500, which is an outdoor product. On the home and small business, we have the home routers R200 and R201. These are mainly routers that we sell to wireless ISPs and ISPs around the world. And today we won't be spending a whole lot of time on this, but we'll set up a different webinar to go over those features. Regardless whether you're dealing with our enterprise access points or our home and small business routers, they're all managed by cnMaestro. cnMaestro is also the Wi-Fi controller. It's our software-defined Wi-Fi controller for the cnPilot family of products. All of our features that we're going to present and talk about really fall under the framework of three things here, what we call a frictionless adaptive architecture. It's about frictionless Wi-Fi. It's about adaptive architecture and affordable quality. And what we mean by frictionless is basically that these features are designed to either help your operations move faster, help you set up your architecture in different ways. But while we do all of these things, always on cnPilot, our goal is to keep the quality and the price for performance in our minds. So if you think about how our features are distributed, if you look at our cloud-managed access points or our access points managed from your virtual controller in your NOC, which is cnMaestro, basically in release 3.0, we introduced features like airtime fairness, client performance testing, client data limiting, and location APIs and VLAN pooling. The features that are in bold are the ones that were recently introduced as of yesterday. So these are the different over-the-air features that affect either your client or give you some information regarding the client. The next feature is the features affecting the access points or enhancing the capabilities of the access points. Features like multi-hop meshing, auto RF, and inter-AP speed testing. So speed testing is basically the same feature but can be done between the client and the APs, or can be enabled between two of our APs, or between the APs and the controller. And then the next set of features is on the controller itself. We made some important enhancements to GUI-based configuration, and then more enhancements are coming on cnMaestro to make it much more simpler to use. We've got a Wi-Fi only view now, which allows you to partition and look at your cnMaestro network and look at it just with Wi-Fi access points only. And we'll go through some of those views mean further down in the presentation. We're also introducing text-based reports. These are CSV reports files that you can export out of cnMaestro. So this is the beginning of our reporting feature, and we'll start to see more features on reporting come in the next couple of months as we move from text to visual-based reports. Along with that, we've made another enhancement to our popular guest access feature by introducing data limits for guest users that you can control and configure. And along with that, we've also introduced SMS notifications. On the traffic handling, this is a recap of 3.0. We've got 3 different ways in which you can take the traffic out of the APs. You can do a local breakout and bridge the layer 2 traffic out of the APs, or you can tunnel the traffic from the access points over to an external gateway, either using L2TP tunneling or layer 2 or GRE. And we also support PPP over E as well for connections over DSL networks. In release 3.0 specifically, we've introduced auto RF, inter-AP speed testing, the capability to test between the clients and the APs, and VLAN pooling on the AP side. And then on cnMaestro, as we just went through, everything from Wi-Fi only views to SMS notifications. VLAN pooling is basically for those where you want to balance your clients across multiple VLANs. The real benefit of this feature is that it minimizes the large broadcast domains on the same subnet, so you can now distribute your users across all of the VLANs. Auto RF, we'll go through that in the next slide. Auto RF is basically one of the things we do with cnPilot. Is when we design a feature, we think of whether that feature can perform in some fashion or capacity without a controller. And that's a cornerstone of a lot of our features that we're bringing to cnPilot. You don't really need a controller, at least at certain scale, when you're implementing some of these features. Auto RF is a completely controllerless distributed algorithm. It allows the APs to talk among themselves and decide how to, which channel to go on as they scan for the area. So the APs so far were making independent decisions looking at their neighborhood. With the advent of auto RF, the APs are now able to coordinate their decision making. They'll be able to configure you'll be able to configure the minimum transmit power and also configure the RSSI threshold value, and then decide how long they'd go off channel scanning, how long they'd stay on the while scanning, and then configure the off channel scan samples as well. So Puneet, if you want to add anything to this feature.
Sure, Chetan. So until 3.2 release, the APs used to support auto channel assignment. So while the AP would scan all possible operating channels and pick an optimal channel to operate on, transmit power was something that the AP was not able to limit on its own. Now with auto RF, we also get the ability to have the APs set an optimal transmit power, and the access points do this by monitoring their neighbors. So periodically each AP goes off channel, samples the air for the noise floor, for the signal strength of its neighboring APs, and then comes back to the operating channel. And by collecting these samples, all the access points have good information about what would be their optimal transmit power and optimal channel to use.
Okay. And if you can also talk a little bit about interference avoidance.
Yeah, interference avoidance is a similar feature where we are trying to make RF management as dynamic, reactive, and automated as possible. So the access points will manage their RF environment looking at the noise floor, and this periodic monitoring of noise floor will help the AP recognize when the RF has changed in such a way that it needs to now move away from this channel. So let's say there is a very high interference source that is introduced nearby, or if there is a neighboring access point which has a large amount of traffic now, the access point will be able to recognize this and switch its operating channel to a different channel.
Hey
So
guys.
there's a question on whether when the AP goes off channel, is active traffic interrupted? So no, it's not, in the sense that the clients are not dropped, but the AP is away from its operating channel for the configured dwell time, so about 50 milliseconds. And this happens, you can configure how often the AP goes off channel, so this can be set up to happen every 5 minutes apart, but the amount that the AP is offline is approximately 50 milliseconds by default. So it's not enough to, for example, break your video streaming or to disrupt a file transfer, for instance. And the clients are not disconnected when this happens.
Okay, we've got a couple of more, see if we've got any other questions there. Okay, thanks, Puneet. The next feature, if you can also address that, this one is our performance testing tool. This has been a popular demand both on our forums and with many of our customers.
Sure,
so
Wi-Fi
Puneet, if you can
Perf
talk through this as well.
Sure, so Wi-Fi Perf is an open source performance testing tool called Zapti that we have integrated into our access points. And now using this, you can run a speed test, as Chetan had mentioned, on any hop of the connection. So you can run it from the client to the wireless access point if you want to test over the air connectivity, or you can run a test from the access point to any server on the wired network, which can help you test your backhaul connection from the access point to the network. Zapti can be compiled and run on any client machine. Zapti is also compatible with Ruckus SpeedFlex. So if you're currently using Ruckus SpeedFlex for your speed testing, that will interoperate directly with our access point. And soon we'll have support in cnMaestro as well. So if you're using an on-premises version of cnMaestro, you can run a speed test between the access point and cnMaestro to figure out the speed and capacity of your backhaul link.
Okay. Thank you, Puneet.
Sure.
So that kind of rounds up a lot of the features on the access point side. The next section will go into our Wi-Fi only features. But before we do that, let me just briefly also talk about the tunneling features that we have. This is a very important feature where we're now seeing people who want to, let's say, migrate from an older controller-based system. You can now use cnPilot access points in a tunneled configuration. The tunneling presently is to an external gateway, for example, like a Cisco gateway. You can tunnel the traffic from the APs over to a Cisco gateway using layer 2 or GRE or L2TP tunneling or to a MikroTik gateway. But very shortly, we're also going to introduce tunneling to cnMaestro running on any server in the network. So this fits a traditional controller deployed model, and there are still lots of those deployments out there in the real world. So with the advent of these capabilities, basically the architecture becomes completely adaptive. So it becomes more flexible. You can run it as a local breakout or as a tunneled gateway. The rest of this presentation, we will focus on cnMaestro features and capabilities that are coming up. So one of the first things, if lately you've logged into cnMaestro, you'll notice is that all of the welcome screen has been cleaned up. And what we now have is a Wi-Fi only view as well. So if you're not dealing with Cambium's backhaul devices like ePMP or PMP450 or any of the other legacy devices, you can now switch to a Wi-Fi only view and look at this more in terms of managing your enterprise Wi-Fi only. And one of the first things you'll notice is that there is no tree on the left side. Everything is flat and much more easier to get to. Your view is also not cluttered by concepts of towers or networks that you don't really need in your network. And there's a whole new dashboard screen that gives you all of the critical data, especially your client data, which is very important when you're monitoring an ongoing network. And then along with that, you'll see clients by OS, clients by radio type, and the signal to noise ratio of your top clients by performance. Especially in the case of outdoor Wi-Fi, the availability of a map is also very helpful and convenient to see what you're dealing with. And for every given AP, you'll see its software version and its MAC address and its critical data. The next major improvement that we made is to this AP group. The print on the screen is not very bright and bold, but if you look over to the left, you'll see that you can now group your APs together and manage configuration settings across groups of APs. And you'll also see the ability to display dashboard data at a high level by AP groups. So you can see by how many APs are in the group, how many of the group APs are up or down, and how many clients are connected to that AP at this instant in time and in the last 24 hours, and the aggregated throughput, and all of the WLANs that are distributed on that particular AP. The next set of major improvements are to our popular hospitality and guest access. This came out in just around release 3.0, and one of the major improvements that we've added in release 3.2 is the addition of quota type. So you're now able to limit client quota by how many bytes. Previously, you were able to limit only them by session and rate limit, and now we've added quota type as well. So with that, you've got 3 dimensions in which to control the data access for your guest access users. One of the other major improvements that we've made is something that is often a legal requirement in many countries around the world. This is the ability to authenticate users using their cell phone number. So if you're, for example, in a cafe or coffee shop and you want to offer public Wi-Fi in many countries, because of implications around security, the laws require you to authenticate users over a cell phone. So now you're able to, as long as the Wi-Fi service provider has subscribed to either Twilio or SMS Country or Gupshup, they'd be now able to send an SMS using cnMaestro to the cell phone provider. So that allows you to authenticate the user using the user's cell phone identity. Another feature that is just about to come on beta, it is not yet in beta but will be available in beta in a couple of weeks, is prepaid access. With prepaid access, you can now pretty much run cnMaestro full time if you're controlling any kind of paid access to your guest network. Right now we support PayPal, and through PayPal we support all of the major credit cards. And with this feature, you'll now be able to set up a chargeable Wi-Fi service, collect the payment upfront in return for either a session, certain duration of Wi-Fi access. This is another feature that's been generally popular. It's been around since the last 4 months. This is the ability to offer users a way to log into the network using Facebook or Google, and then in turn have Google or Facebook deliver to you their public profile information. So that feature continues to be supported. And as we get requests for new social networks, we'll continue to add them to our cnMaestro portal. So if you look at all of these things, and then if you look at ultimately what cnPilot and cnMaestro do to enable clients to connect to the internet, we really give you multiple ways to do it. One is the simplicity and the freedom of just taking your APs and connecting them, managing them from the cloud cnMaestro, and having access to all of those features that we just talked about. The other one is a full control model where you can tunnel the data over to cnMaestro using a tunnel, or you can tunnel to an external gateway before you take the traffic to the internet if you wanted to do any kind of traffic shaping or other traffic handling at a centralized point in your network. And then coming up shortly, there'll be another way to control your network. I don't want to give this away too soon, but in the next couple of weeks, we'll announce another major feature that will allow you to control small-sized networks without necessarily having cnMaestro up in the cloud or running on a server. So with all of these things, we talked about how our architecture is adaptive, how it makes operations easy. And what we really want to do is, while we deliver these features, we want to continue to emphasize our high performance access point capabilities both on our indoor and on our outdoor, always keeping affordability and quality in mind. And like the chart on the right shows here, if you look at list prices for 20 AP deployment, for example, you'll find that cnMaestro and cnPilot deliver many of the workable required features for a Wi-Fi network at a fraction of the cost. So we'll continue to keep our aim on that as we bring new access points, new features, and new capabilities to the market through the rest of the year. So with that, we hope you've enjoyed this roundup of all of the new features coming on cnMaestro. So if you've got any questions, please let us know.
Yeah, we'll give them like, 30 seconds to a minute to kind of type up any questions they might have. And in the meantime, I'll kind of plug our community where you can access this webinar that's been recorded, or you can ask any questions that we might not get to today if you don't think of them in time. And yeah, you can connect with other people using Cambium stuff to ask questions, or you could even get an official response from us, usually within a day.
Yep. And so feel free to ask any questions through our community. We'll continue to respond to many of your queries. We always learn a lot as we answer your questions. And that's also the place for you to ask for new features as well and let the community vote on these features. So looking forward to hearing you and talking to all of you back on the community. Mm-hmm. And next quarter, we'll be back with a whole bunch of new and exciting features that the team is working on currently. So with that, thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Looking forward to seeing you on another webinar.
All right. Thanks, Chetan.
Thank you.